Hey Steph, how's it going? It's Yanni here. You've got some great stuff in your shot, some really nice subtle acting, especially on the secondary character when somebody's not talking. I really like how the scene's coming along. The beginning's fantastic, and I can see that, the later scenes are a little less worked on. But I'm just gonna see if I can give you some comments for some stuff. For the guy that's in the chair in the first shot, all of that's really cool. I mean, he's just pretty much perfect. He's kind of like got just a little bit that dropping of the jaw, the jowls and everything just before he goes into the breath, is fantastic. And on the main guy, the villain, um, the attitude's really good, posing's really good as well. The only thing that jumps out to me a little bit is around frame 87 when he kind of like he's got this very nice swoop with his hand, but it all happens kind of like on top of the actual body. And although it's not that much of a problem, it's really following the shape that the spine has. So the arc of the spine and the arc of the hand are pretty much the same, and that just visually seems a bit more confusing to me. And I think that it might be clearer if you just avoided that hand actually tangenting with the curve of the spine. So if you could possibly move the arm a little bit forward around frame 40, just so that when you get that arm, you can actually see it swoop in front of us with just a slightly different curve. So it's instead of being so broad a curve like that, it's just a little bit shorter like that. You can still get the same idea and the same flick of the wrist, but just having a curve that's shallower instead of so deep, just because it's following that same shape. Um, yeah, everything else, looks great. I mean, every step that the character gives is kind of like it's nice. It works really well. Hips are good as well. In the second shot, his reaction's really good coming in. And the only thing that jumps out at me in shot two is the moment when the villain comes in, just because both characters aren't interacting for something like from frame 127, he comes in, and the look of each one of them kind of like kicks in at frame 188. So it's almost like 60 frames where there's some thought process there, but there isn't really a connection between the characters, and you've just introduced one of the characters in the shot, and it just feels like they're blank right now. So I'd say, one of the things that could happen is that the hero who's tied up in the chair, he could actually look a little bit faster because the villain comes in really quickly over just a couple of frames, and he comes in so quickly. I think you also should do a bit more of a settle when he actually comes in, so he can come in really quick, but the bottom motion has to be kind of like a bit more of a settle, so you can have a bit more of a head nod there, which I think is kind of like what you're going through for. But I think kind of like have a bit more of a settle, and this kind of like leaning over that you've got at 168 can actually be a little bit later once both of them have actually looked at one another. So I think that, it's almost like when he comes in, there should be a little bit of shock from the hero. At least the look, should be kind of like clearer because he's right up, in his face very, 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 very quickly. And then you can go into the little smug look that the hero's got at 186, but I think you can do all of this a little bit earlier and it will read a little bit better. And then on the last shot over here, um, everything's kind of like blocked in step. It's really good. The only thing that jumps out at me a little bit is you got a very nice step of the villain over here. And the thing that I think is that he lingers a little bit on the screen right, just a little bit too much. So frame 306, you kind of like have like three poses over here. And it's kind of like the moment when he just does, the accent to yet. I think it was, I'm not going to kill you yet. No, that was it. I'm saving it up for something special. I think that last line when he delivers it, he should be kind of like already, saying, I'm saving it for something special, and it's not special last movement at the end, but it should be, I'm saving it up for something special, because it's kind of like the line almost like intones in that way where he's got this very, very, very subtle up in the pronunciation, and I think you can add that to what he's actually saying at the end, push that last pose, you know, kind of like have the pose that you've got on 333, that kind of like be a breakdown, and just have one that's a little bit higher to give him a bit more status at the end there. You know, just looking down at him and deliver that line there. So anyway, I hope it helps, and shot's looking absolutely great. As I say, it's difficult to give comments, you know, because some of this stuff is just so nice. But yeah, keep pushing it. You know, I mean, it's gonna look absolutely great by the time you're finished with it. So best of luck. See you soon. Bye.